the first, minute or so. But either way, that'll be fine. Because today we are doing a little bit of soldering. See, the description is Halloween Skeleton Witch. Cool. Let's do it. Okay. So here's what it's supposed to come out looking like. Okay. Got my instructions all right here. Okay. This looks like it's in multiple languages, but that's fine. Maybe this... Oh, okay, that's the German side. Solder 2 pieces AMS 1115 voltage regulator chips. Cool. I'm gonna let you guys familiarize yourself with the instructions while I pull things out. And we can check things here. Got the little package with everything in it right now. Got my soldering iron up to heat, so that's ready when the time comes. Let's see what we got. Ooh, look at that spooky board. That's lovely. Yeah, looks like that's what we're going to be working with. Looks like we got a faceplate here. Magnetic backer. So we'll save these for the end of the project. Let's see what else we got going here. Power cable. You can always use more USB-Cs. Glad to see it is USB-C. A lot of times they use the previous generation stuff. Looks like we got a bunch of diodes and things. Let's see. The first thing it wants us to do is this 2 pieces AMS voltage regulator chip. Okay. Let's try to find those in here, huh? To make life a little easier, I'm just going to dump them in the box. That way I can sort things out. Let's see. AMS 1117 is what we're looking for here. There it is. My lord, it is tiny. Look at that. Okay, so we're going to have to install 2 of those, it looks like. And try to find another one in this mess. Well, is that it? Let's see. No, that's our power supply. Oh, there's the other one. Okay. Kind of got a little lost there. Alien technology. Good to see you, Southern Mofo. There is a legend about it being alien technology. Believe it or not. If you read a book called The Day After Roswell by Colonel Philip Corso, he actually talks all about that. What up, Din? Okay. And we're going to be on spaces U2 and U3 on the board. Okay, so located U2, U3, right there. You get a closer look at it. So looks like these are going to be your pad style. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the big pad here, get some tin just on it, and then lay down the chip. I've never done one like this, and full disclosure to anyone watching who hasn't seen my streams before, I'm not like a pro solderer or anything. I'm just doing this for fun. This is probably my 4th or 5th little project I've done. But we'll get through it. Got some flux rosin. Keep that over here off camera. I'm using that to sort of clean off the tip of my soldering iron for my last project. Beautiful. Okay, let's get cracking here. All right, so let's start with U2. We're going to heat the pad, and we're going to put our solder on the pad. You know what, though? Looks like it's being a tough customer already, so let's put a little bit of flux on there. Well, just a dab will do. Pre-flux my other one here. Good enough for college work. All right, got our flux on. I've got plenty of ventilation here in the room. You can probably hear the wind flapping. A nice cross breeze going. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to try to get this sucker in here. Let's heat this up and then slide it in once it melts. There we go. Come on. Almost had it. Oh, you guys hear that wind? Hey, Immers Saltbier. You know what? I'm going to get some tweezers because that thing's getting pretty hot. Hold on just a sec, guys. I'm still in the room. All right. I knew these soldering tweezers would come in handy. So I got these guys here. Let's give that a shot. Okay. On trying, I guess, huh? I'm not sure why that sucker's not melting back up. Anyone know why? Let me fix my window here. There. Now we won't have any more window troubles, he said forebodingly. That will do. Let's lay down the pad and then get the pad hot. How's that sound? I'm probably going about this all wrong, but at the end of the day, see if we can't get the job done. Yeah. Tell you what came in the neck, huh? All right, let's see what can be done. Yeah, it's not turning liquid at all. What the hell? Okay, now it is. I don't know, gang. Buddy Ryan's up to a rough start today. Okay, now we got a nice glob on there. Thanks to anybody who's still watching at this point for your patience. You know, when you're in the process of learning a new skill, sometimes it's a little hard to get to grips with some of the basics, and that's kind of exactly what I'm experiencing here. Well, you're thinking right now, Ryan, you're going to burn the hell out of yourself. Probably. Man, maybe I'll just start over on this spot. I don't know what the heck is going on with my solder not wanting to melt properly. Gosh darn it, the thing is slippery. It's small. Okay, now we're tacked on. That was a rough start, guys. But we got it. Remember me, Ernest Salt Beer? Of course I do. The name sounded familiar, at least. I think you were here last Wednesday, weren't you? Thanks for coming back. Thanks for watching me solder. More accurately, thanks for watching me learn how to solder. Here, we'll get this closer so you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better. I swear to God, the soldering iron isn't as hot as it claims to be. Try this other solder here. We'll give it a little flux paste. One, two, three. She ain't pretty, but I'll take her to prom. Okay, that one's done. Let's do number 2 here and try not to mess it up so hard, eh? And we'll just position it on there and then solder over top this time. See if that works a little bit better. So how's everyone doing today? I'm not going to be able to chat every 5 seconds, but I will certainly look up and respond once in a while. Okay, got a little bit of flux on the component here. Hopefully that'll help keep it in place a little bit too until we solder. Okay, we've at least got a nice pad in place. There we go. And we are tacked on a little bit. We'll come back and get that with more solder. So kind of the cool part about this for you guys, if you've got the same mindset as me, maybe you don't, but you're getting to see someone go from sucking at something to being kind of okay at it eventually. And even if everything's not precisely lined up, as long as the electrical connections are where they're supposed to be, we'll be okay. So I'm going to take this little win here. Okay, cool. All right, that was good. Okay, so my welds more or less look like shit, but I got them on the board. So the goal is at the end, well, we have a functioning item, and we'll be able to play back and see why if we don't. Okay, but those are in. Okay, 2. Solder the KT148A chip U. Note, align the round notch on the chip, marking the PCB. Okay, so I'm going for this guy here. Which looks like this guy here, U4. Let's see here. Let's try to find our U4. I think I found it. Let's see. What's that say? 148A. Okay. Let's see, this guy should say 148A. Good. We're in the right, we got the right one. Okay, the position of the circle is at the top. And we want the position of the circle to be in the corner. Okay. Align the round notch of the chip with the round marking on the PCB. It's got a round marking on the PCB for U4. Okay. Well, where's the notch on our thing here? Okay. I think the round notch is just indicated by the dot in the corner for this guy. So we're going to go stick that right there. And similar to the other one, I think just as soon as we get one tacked in, we'll be okay. So let's do our best. And sometimes the best soldering angle isn't going to be the best viewing angle, but I will do everything I can to make sure you guys get to see what I'm doing. Gosh, these are tiny for a beginner kit, but I'm not complaining. Okay, let's take a look. Yep, no crossovers. I said she's not pretty, but I'm getting in there. You know, I guess this is the only way to get better at things, huh? So how's everyone doing today? Shit, looks like we're a little far back. Let's take a closer look. Okay, well, it's in. It's all touching what it should be touching. Fingers crossed. So, we got this. Let's keep rolling. If we figure out there's a problem, I guarantee you it's going to be with one of these three, probably this one. Okay. So now we need to put this 10K omega right here. on R1. So let's find our 10K Omega. Looks like the code for that is going to be green, red, black, 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 blue, blue, blue. I don't know. Well, it definitely has, I think, brown, red, or brown, red. Let's see. So it's not these guys. They got gold in them. Let's see if it's these guys. You guys are being my bifocals right now. Red on the end. That's not it. The singular boy here has to be it. See if we can focus on it. Come on, camera. There we go. Brown, red. Brown, red. Okay, this is our guy. As I always do, I'm going to go ahead and pre-bin this somewhat. So go here, boop, here. Okay. Cool. And again, it wants us to put it in space R1. Okay. Now we're getting more into my comfort zone. Next time I'm going to be a little bit more cautious with the kits I pick, I think. So that stuff isn't so tiny for like those first chips. I like big chunky chips. Alright. So I've got it in. Now we're going to go ahead and give it a little solder. I think my problem I was having earlier is I was using this previous solder I had that didn't have any flux in the core. Or what would the excuse be now, huh? I guess we're just going to flux the hell out of each of these as we go. Hey, that's done. And we come back and give it a little clip. Beautiful. First resistor in. Okay, next. Step 4. Looks like we're going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, wow. 4, 7, 8, 9 of these guys. And let's see. I bet you it's the one from the bigger pack. Looks like we're looking at. Where's that on the page? Looks like purple, gold, black, black, brown. Well, by Jove. That's what we have here. Cool. And what I'll try to do here when I do these resistors, I'll put several through. You can solder them all at the same time, so we're not going back and forth flipping. You can see I just give it a little bend open on the one side. And these guys, it doesn't matter which direction they go in. So that's a little stress relief right there. Don't have to worry so much. Okay. And thanks, guys, for watching, those who have joined. Great to see even one or two people in the chat. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Around the nation, across the world. And I've already burned half an hour getting this far. Well, hopefully we get done by the time I have to leave. The rest of the stuff looks pretty straightforward. If not, I can break this video up into 2 sessions. Either way, we'll turn it on camera when the time comes. Okay, let's... Oh. Something does not look the same here. Okay. So it looks like it was just supposed to be the top 2 here. So I'm going to take out this bottom one. My tweezers. Always good to make sure your picture is accurate. Top 3. Got it. And then we're going to go down by the feet. So those 3, and then on the feet. Let's do that. Okay, there's another one. Okay. I like these a lot better than those little tiny regulators and tiny chips with pads. Through-hole soldering. That's what I like. But, you know, you can't advance in any sort of skill if you don't do things outside your comfort zone. So, today was that, I guess. Okay. Let's make sure we're matching the picture so far. Double, triple, quadruple check, you know? Sort of how I operate. I'll get a little flux lined up on these guys. Okay. Everything's real flux pasted up top. So let's do up there first. Yeah, that flux makes a world of difference. Really does. Okay. A little snip. A little snip. Another little snip. Okay. Kind of flex the holy hell out of it. That's okay. I can always go back afterwards with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and clean the board. So anything that looks kind of goofy or, greasy now with all this flux, well, I'll just come back and fix it later. Get it all cleaned up. In this sort of situation, I feel like let's just get it done, Should have flexed him as I was doing this, but whatever. It'll melt and get all over the place and make our solder flow beautifully. So if you're not much of a solderer or you haven't done this before, that's what the flux is for, is it just helps stuff flow. Helps avoid some of the problems I was having at the beginning of this stream. And I thought, I've got flux, in the core of my solder. I don't need any. Well, that's not always the case, is it? A little more flux ain't gonna hurt a thing. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay. Don't want that. Over there. Okay. Bottom row in. This row in. Let's see what else I said. So we're supposed to get these three, got it, these three, and then these two. Okay, it looks like that leaves us with one spare. So I'll put these away in my box for safekeeping. And you know what? I'm going to pre-flex these holes. You live and you learn, right? Some people like putting together a puzzle. Some people like working on a car. I kind of like fiddling with electronics in a way that's just slightly above my pay grade. So these soldering kits are kind of a low risk way. I'm not going to ruin my radio or my microwave by opening it up. I'm just going to make a doodad that I can give to my kids. Why didn't I use more flux before, huh? But that's what you guys are doing. You're watching me learn how to do this, so... maybe after a year of doing these, I'll be more confident. Boom. Done. Okay, so our picture should look just like where we are in the steps right now. Done with step 4. Looks like it. Cool. Let's go step 5. Looks like it wants to come back in and fill in at the neck. Then these 4 down here. So that's 5. The only other 5 here I have is these. Let's check the code on it just to be sure. You can see these have a color code. Red up top. Yep. Right up top. Good enough for me. Let me make sure I'm putting these in the right places. One at the throat, R15, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay. R8 through 11. Let's do this. Okay. We're just going through and getting each of these. I'll go back through and solder them. No big deal. If you guys, if there's anyone more skilled than me watching this, you want to give me tips, pointers, or, oh no, don't do that along the way, please don't hesitate to speak up. You know, I've noticed we have an epidemic in our culture of people acting overconfident on YouTube and then just blurting out stuff that's not accurate. So if I'm inaccurate or I do something dumb, say, Ryan, buddy, cut it out. Worst offender was I watched a episode of The Game Theory where young Matt Pat was talking about mushrooms and clearly didn't know what he was talking about. So I'm not going to be that guy. I'll tell you right up front. I know nothing, okay? Ryan is the stupid. Okay. So I'm just going to do these one row at a time. Get a little flex on there. There's one row down. I'm going to snip. Hey, you know what? There's getting to be plenty of flex just on the board because I'm being messy at this point. So I'm going to try this next row without putting extra flex on. Awesome. It's a pretty good sign. A little snip, snip. 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 All these leads out of my way. Good lord. Okay. Make sure we're in frame. Sorry about that, guys. beautiful. Okay, now I feel like we're kind of cruising. Got off to a little bit of a slow start. I think that's every time I'm doing this, I start off a little nervous. Just because it's something new I'm doing and I'm doing it in front of people. But here we go. Doing pretty good so far. Even though it looks like it was done in a cave by a caveman. Okay, so I do one at the throat here. So let's get R15 in place. Okay. That's in. A little flux paste. A little heat, a little solder, a little love, a little laughter. A little bit of fried chicken for dinner later tonight. What are you guys eating? Yeah, I'm kidding. I'm not having fried chicken. My wife is a vegan, so we're probably going to have vegetables. Me and the kids will have steak later this week. Okay. That one was quick and painless. All right, step 5 is done. Let's move on to step 6. Looks like these little guys, ceramic capacitors, are going to go here, 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 and here. So C1, 3, 6, 7, 9, C10, C11. Okay. All right, I suppose let's start with C6. You know what? Let's start with C1, 2, and 3. Let's just go in order. Okay? So our little brown ceramic capacitors. Let's look in our little box. There's one. Okay. And I don't believe these guys have any sort of positive or negative polarity I need to worry about. There's no indication of such anyway. One. So, on this Halloween-themed episode, do you guys have any plans for Halloween? I know some of our viewers are international and sometimes don't celebrate Halloween. I learned that with a fella named Swindon Electronics last week. They're in the good old US of A. You celebrate Halloween, depending on the family. You know, my family does. Now, I've known several Catholic families growing up who said that Halloween is against their faith. However, oh, this one's different, isn't it? Oh, see, 104 or 105. Okay, so these top 3 need to be 104. Glad I checked. Okay, they are 104. This is a 105. Anyway, for my Halloween this year, I'm going to be in Colorado, back home where I come from. I presently live in California. Yeah. And although we've lived here for 5 years, it's most definitely my family's home. Raised 2 sons here, and, you know, my wife is from here, but for me, California will never ever be home, man. People are interesting here. There's good people you can find everywhere in the world, but maybe it's a little harder in California. That's not to say we haven't made plenty of cool friends here. Just different, a lot of things I miss. So it'd be good to get back home and visit Colorado for a few weeks. Of course, the Colorado I fell in love with is way back in 2010. So without a time machine, I can never really go back. I went with my family to the Buddhist temple here in town this week to check it out. My mother-in-law, she's very into that kind of thing. And said the one constant in life is change, and I tend to agree. Okay. So looks like the 105s are going to be here, C10 and C11. Yeah, 105 on C10 and C11. So let's get that 105 I botched earlier. There we are. Well, put it C10 and C11. Okay. One is more or less in. Okay, let's do the next one. Good. Okay. Hey. Got our ceramic capacitors in. Ooh. Few of them anyway. Okay, it looks like we have another row of 104s here, and here, which is going to be on the board. C9, C7, so 6, 7, and 9. C6, 7, 9. Yep. 6, 7, 9. Beautiful. Getting all these 104s in. Hey. I'm glad we're going a little faster now. At the beginning of this project, I didn't think I could do it. Isn't that silly? Well, that just goes to show. You never know someone's internal struggle. And if you keep at something, even if you suck at it, maybe you get better. I should wear gloves. Why should I wear gloves? I'm using lead-free solder. Can wash hands when I'm done. Genuine question, I'm not being snotty. If you have a good reason, I'll start wearing gloves. My main worry is though I touch the soldering iron in some latex gloves or what have you, then I'm gonna get melted plastic on my skin, and that sounds kind of crummy. What do you think, Manche de Beye? Lay it on me. And if you wear gloves when you solder, buddy, do you have a pair you would recommend? Shoot me a link. Always up for more tips. So, shoot me a link to the gloves you wear when you solder, and I'll check those out. Okay, so we've got our resistors in place, or our capacitors. All of them are looking as pictured. That's great. Okay, so let's move down to step 7. Solder type C connector at the type C position and solder skibbity baba side toggle switch at SW2. Okay, so I guess maybe let's do the toggle switch first. I kind of like doing those. Gotta find me the toggle switch in here. Here's one. Oh, the gloves guy didn't tell me why I need gloves. Okay. Guess no gloves it is. Okay, that's in place. More or less. Get some flux across this beautiful boy. Okay, beautiful. But yeah, if y'all see anything you think I'm doing wrong or think I should change, tell me why. Okay. Done. Toggle switch in, on, off, ready. Okay, and I think the next place we're going to go is this Type C. Let's see, that's what it says to put there, Type C. So let's put our USB-C socket there. Okay, USB-C. I'll stick you right there. Before I do, I'm going to put a little flux on there. I don't know, maybe the guy said I should wear gloves because I'll turn into some kind of cool Cronenberg monster if I don't. That'd be cool. Hey guys, see a few new people dropped in. Thanks for joining. Hope you're having a great day. I'm happy you're here. Bye. There's our USB-C power supply right in place. So I think my problem this whole time Anytime I've been struggling to get the solder to flow, there's just not enough flux. I need to give in to the fact that I'm going to be putting flux on everything. Okay. USB-C's in, toggle switch on off. Looking great. We're gonna have a shit ton of diodes here soon, I think. Okay. So we're cruising along. Step 8. Solder 4 pieces, 5mm red LED, and the yellow ones into place. Cool. LED shown in the picture. Longer anode lead on the square pads. Okay, so that's important. That square pad's going to be your negative there. Okay, well, let's do the eyes. Okay, eyes make a man. So let's make this skeleton man a made man. Okay, so making sure we got the longer side going into the square pad. You might see me neurotically do that a few times. Take it out and check, and take it out and check. And I want these to all be really straight, so I might do these big fellas one at a time. But at least do the eyes one at a time. Anybody else been following this 3i Atlas business with the comet? Saw something but haven't read it yet today that says, hey, it's coming for Earth now. That can't be true, right? Maybe it is. If it is, that could be pretty big, because that would mean it changed course significantly. So it was just supposed to fly by Mars. Okay, next diode. Positive end, positive end. Ready? Okay, place it there so you guys can see what I'm doing. Personally, it's interesting with the comet situation, how badly they want to call it a comet, despite saying all these things that it does that a comet doesn't do. Well, I'm not saying it's a spaceship, but maybe whatever it is isn't a comet, because it's from somewhere else, so we should open our minds a little bit. That's the big problem I see in science, is lack of creativity. You know, there's a time before we had a name for a comet. So maybe whatever this is just something new, you know? That's my thought. I'm open to it being an alien spaceship, but I think that's probably unlikely. But it's not impossible. Nothing in this great, big, beautiful universe is impossible. Okay. Let's be a little bold this time. I'm going to put two red LEDs in together, so I'm not flipping it back and forth and back and forth. And some of them are a little crooked. Maybe you'll forgive your old buddy Ryan at the end, huh? Maybe you won't. You don't really know me. You know, one time when I was a kid, we wanted to build a rocket ship. So we started saving up money. But he had it all saved in his dresser drawer. But got stolen. Just kidding. Beautiful. My technique gets a little bit more comfortable and confident as I go along. Cool. Got the red boys in. So, looks like now I just need to put a ton of yellow diodes in here. So, this will make a fun speed up montage thing later. I suppose let's try to just do them one row at a time. Does that seem reasonable? So I'm just going to lift the board up and bend all these and then solder all them. That's my plan. So I'm letting gravity kind of do some of the work. There we go. Thanks, gravity. Yeah, it's fiercely windy here in the Tehachapi Mountains today. Let's apologize for any creaks and groans you hear. That's just the old wind. Or maybe it's some ghouls. Okay. So hopefully these mostly land straight when I'm done. If not, we'll try to bend them a little later. Alright, we'll go back and flex these guys, I guess. Flip the flex. Okay. Thanks, Francesco. I don't know that I know how to pronounce your first name. Velishki? Francesco? Is that right? Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Okay, so we got one row in. What am I doing? Well, to catch you up, buddy, we are soldering a spooky, scary skeleton lamp for Halloween. My wife is having a little Halloween party, but I told her I'd help with the decorations. She said, "You're not buying another soldering kit, are you?" No, 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 no. Just kidding. This was her idea. She's a wonderful lady. Okay, so let's turn it over. We have one row in. So, I'm going to show you what it's going to look like, Barasul, or Barasole. This is what it's supposed to look like at the end. It should light up and everything. So right now I'm just putting in all of these yellow LEDs. And, yeah, I can kind of narrate it a little bit more as we go if that's something you like. But basically, these diodes have a positive and a negative end. Okay, our negative end is the long end. We're going to be putting it on the square pads for each of these. Yeah, there's a square and a circle. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Okay. My goal is I'm just going to kind of do these one row at a time. Keep remembering, put the long side on the square pad. If you see me not do that, chat, tell me right away so I can fix it, okay? This is definitely a non-expert soldering situation. Now, to sort of streamline my workflow a little bit, going through right now, and I'm just letting these set in here until I turn it over and bend all the prongs back into place. I'm not going to turn it totally over, though, or they'll all fall out. So, just kind of setting them where they belong right now. There's probably a ton of solderers or electronics experts who've seen these videos and thought, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. Guess what? They're right. Instead of yellow light, what else do I have to do? Well, that's the main step right now. I started with all of these capacitors and resistors and chips and stuff. But this is the main thing. And you can see anywhere where there's an empty square, that's where I'm going to have to put something else. Ooh. That felt weirdly satisfying. Okay. Now, go back and bend all of these. So Francesco, are you writing from Italy or Portugal? Where are you from? What kind of name is Francesco? Glad to see you on my stream. Okay. There we go. You know, I've noticed that in the middle of the day here, it's, you know, nighttime in Europe, so I'll get some people watching from England and stuff a lot of time. That's pretty fun. And now I'm just putting a little bit of flux paste between each of these. And all that's going to do is help the solder flow more smoothly. I thought by having solder with a flux core, we wouldn't have to do this as much. Oh, you're from Romania, but you moved to Germany. I love hearing the shortwave radio come in from Romania. And that is another hobby of mine, is listening to international broadcasts on the shortwave radio. And fun fact, I speak Spanish a little bit, and listening to Romanian, I didn't know what language it was, but I seemed to understand it somewhat. which really threw me off until I realized, hey, obviously Romania has a Romance language, just like, you know, Italian and Spanish and all those guys. And that's probably why I could catch a word every so often. Truly bizarre experience to understand what they're saying on the radio and not know why, because you've never heard this language before. Anyway, that's about all I know about Romania. I'd love to get over to the old Castle Dracula out there someday. Romania does have many good songs, man. I listen like when I'm out in the woods and I can get good reception on the shortwave radio. I try to catch the Romanian channel and the channel from the Czech Republic. Both have pretty good music. That's my weird niece. Oh, is that well, it could be any number of you. I'm not gonna name names online, but I assume it's my weird niece from Florida. Good to hear from you. Fun fact, people who uh, know me personally, I for many years had a long lost brother. It made me very sad to not be in connection with him. My dad had a son in high school, and of course, because he was like pretty young, his girlfriend was even younger. Um, he had to be adopted. So I spent 35 years wondering about this guy. Well, we did 23andMe before they went bankrupt. I found him. It turns out I have three amazing nieces out in Florida, a half brother. His wife Tina is pretty amazing. Um, anyway, it filled a part in my heart that was missing. I live in California, and we went out to Florida to meet all of them. And, you know, having a missing sibling from your life, it's a weird thing. Think about him every Christmas. Well, what's his name's doing good. I can confirm this. He's my dad. Yay. Yeah, Chris is awesome. Um, but no, it's not a sad thing actually, because he had a really nice life. Um, his dad was maybe a little friendlier to him than his biological dad, my father, was to me growing up. So I think he had a really nice life. Um, so it worked out really well for my brother. And that made me happy. It makes me happy to find, despite years of distance and, you know, just not knowing where the other one was, that we can find some common ground and know each other now. And weirdly enough, my brother, or my brothers and my dad all live in Florida too, not too far. So I actually am the furthest one from everyone. Ah, thanks. Yeah, it's kind of a neat story. I kind of feel like so I watch a lot of unsolved mysteries. Um, Unsolved Mysteries is a show I watched a lot in the '90s, and I still watch it with my wife. It's pretty good, and they do a lot with reconnecting missing relatives. So anytime there's like a half brother episode, I start choking up. I'm like, it's like my brother Chris. It's just such a good feeling. Then you see, the weird thing for me was there was never any Carol women. Women in my family is 5 generations unbroken of just males being born. Um, and then lo and behold, my brother Chris has 3 daughters. So it's like, wow, they do exist. That's cool. I've got only boys. I grew up in a family of only boys. My dad's family had only boys. His family had only boys. So kind of cool to see that there's some females in the family. Okay, let's see here. This part's a little tedious, but I'm hoping this will all be worth it in the end when we see this whole thing light up. Can't do the first row, only 3 LED. I'm not sure I understand what you mean, buddy. Yeah, Punch Out is a great game. Um, Thanks for that comment. Okay, that's done. Above the 2 big red ones. Oh, these guys? These are going to be capacitors, I believe. I think they're going to be these guys. So once I'm done with these, I can maybe do that next. We'll look at what Q2, Q1, and Q3 are. Okay. Now time to go through and do these. And gosh, this board is getting so messy with flux, but maybe that means I don't have to put as much on anymore. We'll see. Nah. Let's still flux it up. Oh, that was a little too much. No, more flux needed. Darn it. Okay, well, I'm just being a little lazy today, I guess. Okay. I'll put a little bit of flux on that one that doesn't want to play nice. A lot of flux. There we go. hell's going on here? There we go. Let's see here. Straighten them out. Yeah, I might need to buy more. That's funny. There we go. Get a different angle on this. Okay, cool. What's up, Velisky? Hello. Thanks. Yeah, I might need to buy more flux at some point. Alright, I got kind of locked in there. Alright, but I think I just made a mistake. Nope. I can get that out of there. There we go. Okay, another row in. And go back and snip all the leads. This definitely has the most components of anything I've soldered so far. That guy's a little bit globby right here. So I'm going to go back and heat that up. I got my desoldering gun here. That took a little bit of that off of there. My worry was just that maybe these leads would end up touching. Okay. Cool. I do think it's going to be pretty cool. I hope so. Did a UFO one last week, so if you find this sort of weird content soothing, feel free to watch it. I'm trying to build a new project every week. My kids are presently, they go to we got homeschool kids, and they're on Wednesdays like this, they're at an in-person day of class. So that's my day to do what I want. And so this is kind of what I want to do. Just for the time being. It feels a little bit like a dog chasing its own tail because it's just something I'm making up to do. But I guess that's what a hobby is, isn't it? Tell myself I'd take a ceramics class or learn how to dance or something like that, but this is a nice little introvert hobby for me. I might still take that ceramics class. Okay. That's another row in. You can see the legs are all oriented the same way. Hold them down, go back and do some of this action. Boom. Okay. Everything's more or less nominally in place. Is it expensive to do this? No, it's really not. I want to say this kit cost me about $10. Yeah, your most expensive thing to do is going to be to purchase a little soldering station. You'll need some wire cutters and some flux and obviously some solder. I think I got everything started like $50–$60 USD. And I mean, and that's for everything. So I can knock out one of these little kits for like $10, and that's pretty fun. I did one where I was able to build a radio 2 weeks ago. That's probably the most fun for me because it's actually useful. And I do use that radio sometimes now. I have better radios, but that's the radio I made. And that's what makes it cool. Still in frame? Here. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Another row of LEDs in. Yeah, I want to say I did buy this kit on Amazon, but there's other places too. If you're in Europe, I don't know if like buying off of AliExpress or something is better. I bought some off of Etsy too. I actually have a kit coming to me from Europe, from a guy in the UK. I'm going to be building a handheld Space Invaders game soon. Boom. Okay. All right, I think that's all of our... Oh, wait, no. We got four more. Four more LEDs. Cool. You just never know. LED Fest 2025. Building up a new radio is pretty cool. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to make a crystal radio soon. And for anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's radio that literally just runs off of the magnetic energy of the AM radio broadcast. So it has a crystal oscillator, germanium, and if you have a long wire, it'll just harness the power of the radio field. So then you don't even have to worry about batteries at all, which I think is excessively cool. Yep. Flex. Okay. One done. Okay. I think that's our last 4 LEDs. There's a couple extra in the box. I wonder if those are just spares. Gosh, this board is so gummed up on the backside with Flex. It's going to get a good cleaning later. Okay, here we are so far. All right, let's see where we're at. Now, we got our LEDs in. All of them. That took a long time. Looks like horizontally mount 3 pieces electrolytic capacitors on C4, 5, and 8 according to the PCB silkscreen marking. Longer anode lead on the square pads. Okay, so we're going to be looking for a part that looks like this. So I guess it has 2 mu F on it. Okay. 2 mu F. 2 mu F. Okay, C1 through 3. Let's start there. I see C4. Oh, C4, 5, and 8. Okay. So, C4. And it looks like these guys got to be laid down. Longer end on the negative pad. Okay. And I like to just pre-lay it down. Okay, that way you know you have exactly as much length as you need. I'm going to do these guys one at a time, because I have screwed one of these up before, and I don't intend to screw it up again. Beautiful. Okay, first one laid down, C4. All right. And we need to do C5 and C8. So our C5 and C8 are right here. This is kind of a good thing too to be doing this because I feel like for these kinds of kits there's limited documentation. So, you're not going to be able to watch someone do it all the way through usually, unless you find a video like this. So you can see exactly what to do if you watch your buddy Ryan's video. And what's more important, if I make a mistake, you can learn from whatever my mistake is. That's pretty cool, I think. Okay. Cool. Okay, number 2 in. C4, C5, C8. C, por supuesto. Just like with the rest. Bend it down. Bend the leads on the back. Double flex. One. Two. Done. Okay. Cool. Now mine's always going to come out uglier than the picture. I'm just resigned to that. I'm not a pro builder. Okay, that part's done. We're on step 10 of 15, so we're doing pretty good. Okay, here's the one that Francesco wanted me to do. 3 up top. Solder 3 pieces of the S8550 transistors. Transistors was the word I was looking for. I said capacitors, and that wasn't correct. Okay. So these guys are pretty tight and close together, so I might do these ones one at a time too. Oh, yeah, 2 out of the 3 in. Here we go. 3 in. Okay. They're oriented the way they want them to be. Yeah, I'm going to do these one at a time. It's pretty tight for me to have to get in there and do this. And if you guys watch the beginning of the video, I'm not super accurate, so I'm going to do my best here. Okay, that one's done. One, 2, 3. Okay. Next transistor. There we go. And there you go. Okay. There they are. A little dab of flex. No problemo. Get in with your soldering iron. 1, 2, 3. Done. Okay. Looking good so far. No bridges. Almost there, though. Let's nip that. There. That's a little cleaner. Okay. Last transistor. And these guys are important to note which way you're putting them in, but there's usually a little half moon diagram right on your board. So, in the same sense that it's really important to get the polarity right, it also makes it super plain and simple. And I really appreciate that about this. Doppel flex. Beautifully done there. Okay. No bridges. Awesome. Okay. Top row's all done. Getting pretty close. What time is it? Ooh, yeah, plenty of time to keep going. I have about 40 minutes left that I can be working on this before I gotta pick up my kids, so doing pretty good. Okay, we've got the 3 transistors up top done. Now it looks like we gotta do this. Okay, so we're gonna be putting in a socket and then a programmable chip into the top. Okay, so let's get the socket in. There's only one of these. Now these guys, it's really important. There's always a divot on one end. So there's a divot here, right there. Well, we're going to put that in here. And there's a divot on the board. So you want the 2 divots to match. You've got to line these up perfectly too, because one bent pin will be having a mess on your hand. Oh, pretty close. There we go. Rah, looks like a spooky mouth, huh? Okay. Make sure the socket is pushing all the way through. Yep. Okay. There's better ways to do this, but gotta work with what you got, right? Just trying to tack at least one of these into place in each corner. And then I can just work with it free and clear. Okay. We're tacked in one corner. Let's make sure we're tacked up in the other. Okay, got them in. I'm just gonna flex the whole row. Now, flexy, flexy, flex. I've learned today flex is your best friend. So we're just gonna treat him as such and invite him to every party. Okay. Done. Beautiful. Clean. In the correct orientation. All right. So sockets in. Now I gotta put in the chip. Okay? Here's our friend the chip. The chip has little legs. The chip has a divot on one side. We're gonna match the divot on the chip to the divot on the board. Okay? I'm gonna fold these in just a little bit. You don't want to misalign your pins. Okay, I think we're properly in. That part makes me nervous every time. But it's seated. See if it looks similar enough to the picture. Yeah, looks like it is raised just a little bit. Mine is raised just a little bit. So I think we're okay. I think we're okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, next. Solder black button at SW1. Heck yeah, that'll be easy and fun. Let's see. Where is SW1? Oh, okay. SW1 right here. Got our switch button here. I'll put that sucker in. Ooh, and look at that. It locks into place a little bit. That's nice. Okay. Flex the hell out of it. Seven likes. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And if you are watching us right now and you're enjoying it, a like would be appreciated, but I'm not your dad. I can't tell you what to do. Ah, come on, guy. Finally, almost done. Yeah, you're right. We're getting there. Once we're doing buttons and switches and stuff, we're kind of nearing the end. Didn't realize you were still with me, Valishki. Thanks for being here. Okay, so got our switch in. Now it looks like they want us to wire our red and black beeper thing to the speaker. Oh my god, this might be the last soldering step we have. Cool. I'm going to hook it up to power, though, first, before I put it all the way together. Okay. So it looks like our red goes to the top, and the black is the bottom. Fine with me. You know what? I'm going to do a little trick here. We're going to start with some flex. Okay? And then we're going to tin. Well, actually, you know what? Scratch that. I'm going to just push through the hole. Oh, freaking. You know what? I've got some wire strippers here. So I can push it through the hole a little bit better. Well, I don't have small enough wire strippers. Shucks. Okay. You know what? There's more than one way to skin a cat. There we go. All right, back to method one. I'm just going to tin this. Yeah. Just going to tin on the hole instead of through the hole. Come back through with our red wire. Just going to mush that sucker in. Well, maybe we won't. Okay. The red is on in a very nominal way. Let's get a little bit of solder on the black. Did it stick? Let's see. Cool. Got a speaker on there for better or worse. Let's take a close look, make sure we didn't bridge. No bridge, looks like bird shit, but I didn't bridge it. All right, so solder red and black wire to the pad. Attach it to the beep position. Okay. Well, and I think now it wants me to put the pad on here. So let's go ahead and do that. Self-adhesive pad. Okay. We are on the beep. Good. All right. Next step. Okay, well, now it looks like it just wants us to put screws in. Okay. We can do that, but should we see if it powers on first? Okay. Oh, that might have something to do with it. Piece of metal bridging various things in there. Oh, what happened? Oh, sorry, guys. Cut out there for a minute. Okay. Well, let's keep chugging along here. Kind of cool. You can see the red lights already coming through. Yeah, sorry about that. I touched the wrong button with my cheek. Okay, so here's what we got to do now. Let's go back and put these screws in place, it looks like. There's a backboard here. So let's see. Okay. Not sure entirely how this works. Maybe this is plastic. Or maybe that just stays on. Let's see. Well, I think they want us to take this off to make this a clear acrylic panel. Hey, there we go. A little bit of purchase. Cool. One side off. Ooh, yeah. Plastic reveal, huh? Okay. I think this goes up against the back here. You know what? Before I assemble it, let's clean off some of that flux. I've got a little paper towel, get a little rubbing alcohol. I was saying like a little toothbrush or something would be better, but I'm just working with what I have, like at hand right now. Yeah. Yeah. Well, if I decide to, I can come back with a toothbrush later. Getting little shreds of cloth. Stuck to the board, you don't want that. All right. Well, so it's supposed to come together like this. Very cool. And let's see how it recommends putting the screws in. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to be putting the bottom through here. Potentially. Let's see. So a screw goes through the front, bottom, then a pillar. Okay. So screw goes in the back. I'll put our pillar in. Okay, I'm gonna put this guy through here. Doesn't seem right, does it? Let's see. See if that's right. Oh, because there'd be space there, huh? Copper pillars on the front side. Install copper pillars on the back side. Tighten all screws. Okay. Well, it looks like a screw goes through the front, through a pillar in the middle. Okay. So let's go the opposite way. Let's start with the screw in the front and attach it to the pillar. So there we go. So that pillar will reach there, which will reach here. Oh, and I think another screw goes on the back. I think I'm getting this now. Let's see, got a little screwdriver around here. Okay, pillars through, back casing on. Okay, that's number one. Hell yeah. Okay, we'll loosen that a little bit though, so we have more maneuverability. So let's do another one. Okay, I hope I have more pillars and stuff laying around. Because, geez, I think this might be missing pieces. Let's see. Set that aside for now. Oh, I think there's just the two. Okay, we're not missing pieces. They're just more frugal than I thought. Okay. 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 Well, that's what she looks like. I'll start her up on the back end here. Now we are just going to hope this thing works. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I've got my battery pack here on the counter. I hook it up. We'll see. Hey! All right, look at that. It works. I am so happy. Cool. I'm not hearing anything. So maybe I screwed up that speaker. But we have a lighting up, honest to God, skeleton guy. Pretty cool. What do you guys think? Everything appears to be working except for, I think it's supposed to be making sound. But I can go back and check that. In the meantime, let's just soak it in. Looks like it's got a glowing mode. That's pretty cool. What else does it do? Looks like there's just eyes. Can we do just pumpkin? Eyes and pumpkin. Frickin' A. Well, this has just been so much fun putting together. I'm glad it powers on. I know I'm not quite out of the woods yet, because I got to figure out what's going on with the speaker. But that's my time for today. What I'm going to do then, guys, is I will fix the speaker. There's probably not much to it that needs to be done. But I just resolder that positive wire. I think that was our problem. But I'm really happy that this turned out, and I'm happy that you guys joined me. Have yourself a great day. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe because I do this every Wednesday, at least for now.